Haliburton is 10 for 11 on shots to tie or take the lead in the last 2 minutes this year.
And they're like weird game winners. They're like 4-point plays or missed free throws on purpose. They're not even like good-looking shots, and he's just a killer. I wish his dad was there for it.
Amin, please take me through the emotion of this. Ernie Johnson, salute to you, sir. I want to be able to do different basketball analysis than we've been doing, Amin, because I think, even though it's small sample size theater, and even though I'm sure most basketball fans know that not having Evan Mobley out there changes everything. Like it doesn't allow. You're going to disagree with that, I mean.
It does, but that's not why they lost the game. Like, yes, in general, not having Evan Mobley, and by the way, Darius Garland, another all-star, not having two all-stars out there, and DeAndre Hunter, who has been their sixth man basically since the trade deadline, massive before you start the game. And then that game happened, and they were kicking Indiana's ass up and down the floor. And what happened at the end was you saw, and Kenny Atkinson, again, shout out to coaches taking accountability, he says, my regret is that I didn't go deeper in my bench in the second half and in the fourth quarter in particular because we ran out of gas, because I tightened the rotation, and they just took advantage of that.
The thing that I find so interesting about all that's happening out here, I mean, because, okay, whatever. I mean, Mobley's out, but that was a great regular season team. And when Donovan Mitchell scores 48, most teams almost always win unless you're playing against Jokic in the bubble and he's got Jamal Murray. But Donovan Mitchell plays that game. Donovan Mitchell did the thing the star has to do at home to save the series.
Yes.
Like the very thing. He's like, Cleveland, okay, we got a one. I know everybody says it's Allen and Mobley and Garland. No, it's not. It's me, and are you guys coming? But Atkinson, are you going to use Mobley a better way? And now that team is on the brink. And on the brink after an amazing regular season that made us forget, hey, you know the Cavs are always the Cavs except when LeBron's not there, right? Like that the Cavs for a long time have been the Cavs, and now they're a winner.
Yes.
And Indiana's got them buried with one of the most interesting players in the sport. All the others say he's overrated. 10 for 11 on shots to tie or take the lead in the last 2 minutes this year. Like, everyone's telling me Brunson's clutch, and he is because he does it empirically, but that's clutch.
Yes and no, right? So, yes, you're right. They have a reputation, but I think they shook that reputation this year. I think last night, again, was a case of one team ran out of gas, a shorthanded team that was up ran out of gas, and both coaches cited the physicality and the ability to defend aggressively in a way that you can't during the regular season. And neither of them complained. Neither of them was like, they got to get a hold of this. It's like, hey, man, this is the playoffs. We got to get around it. Donovan Mitchell did all the things a superstar is supposed to do. The problem is Donovan Mitchell ran out of steam, ran out of gas. And there are two plays in particular where you can kind of see that. One is that offensive rebound that was his basically block out. And then the other one is when he's basically kind of falling apart right there at the end. You know, he can't even turn up the court without kind of bumping into somebody and collapsing. And so for me, I look at that game as Cleveland had the perfect game plan. They executed. They ran out of gas. Indiana took advantage. And by the way, the thing I wanted to mention, Dan, is I didn't see Indiana take up 800 three-pointers to get that done. No. They took the available shots. They were driving lanes again and again and again, and they took advantage of that. And that's the difference between what happened to Boston the other night and what happened to Indiana last night.
Okay, but the reason I want to talk about how analysis changes, right? We just talked the other day about, like, all our lives we've done, man, role players on the road, always bad, always bad. You never get anything from him. And then Buddy Hield goes from 0 in Game 6 to, he's carrying all of them. We'll talk about Butler and Curry, but it's a role player on the road goes 9 for 11 from threes. So everyone's talking about how the game has changed, and the threes dominate all, and Karl Anthony Towns is a million miles away, and we're complaining the Celtics are champions, but we don't like to watch how they play because all they do is take step-back threes. That's boring. Stop perfecting that. Is Joe Mazzulla a good coach? Like, that's something that happened on our show yesterday. So if the game spreads out like that, now we hate Harden, he ruined the game, MVP, but never great, whatever. If we're doing all of the math on Indiana-Cleveland, This is how Haliburton becomes a star. You slay this dragon this way because they're the underdogs. Ernie Johnson told us, watch this series because the Pacers can beat anybody in the modern age. And the thing I wanted to ask all of you, we can usually do this with basketball pretty simply. It's really predictable. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 3, 4, 5. Like at the end, it's going to be the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4, or the 1, 2, 3, and 5, and it will get there some way. But last year it was Dallas. They come through the middle, and the Pacers could beat everyone because they have the elements in the modern game. And I'm wondering, I mean, if today, more than any day before, basketball can be less predictable than it was because the Pacers can make a ton of threes and change everything.
But that's my point. They didn't make a ton of threes. That's my exact point. They didn't come back because they made a ton of threes. They came back because they upped their defensive intensity and tried to get threes, but instead, because Cleveland was rightfully defending three-point line so well, you got Siakam to the rim, you got Haliburton to the rim a couple of times, you got great offensive rebounding, you got Miles Turner right in the front of the rim, and then Haliburton hits a three at the end to win the game, but that wasn't a three-point barrage that did them in. That was them playing methodical, good, smart basketball, which is why, Dan, what I said yesterday, and it's not that Indiana's not a three-point shooting team. This is not a philosophical thing. But what I said is they're not robots. And the problem with Boston is, Coach said I got to shoot a three. Okay. No, you don't have to do that. If you got a one-on-one with Jalen Brunson on an island, you don't have to shoot a three. Okay. I promise you.
But this part's so interesting to me, Stugotz, because do you see what's happening here, right? For the last 2 years, no one's really bothered or challenged Boston, and so Mike Ryan is whimpering around here. Somebody make Tatum earn it. Make him win.
Well, the Knicks are doing it. So.
Yeah, I gotta say we had general consensus, even when we talked to Juju in the post game. Like it's fair to question this team and want to see them to do it. That's all I want to see. The same way I wanted to see Steph Curry do it in the final and be the best player, and he was. And the same way that I just want the NBA to be good. And this second round has been really fascinating. They've been really compelling games, and this will get the people in. I love Haliburton as a star. Like, he literally went into a WWE ring and had a face-off with Jalen Brunson. Like, he likes being the bad guy. Hell, his dad likes being the bad guy. I know he was a star before, but if he has moments like that, in these big upper echelon games, and he makes a deeper run, it is so great to watch a superstar totally ascend right before your very eyes, Stu.
He needs to have moments like that against Boston or against the Knicks. You would agree, though, right?
Yeah.
Reggie Miller had that moment. They made a 30 for 30 over it.
I think Haliburton had one of the remember that show that we did a few months back? Like, what are regular season moments that you remember? I remember Haliburton against Milwaukee and winning that game, and probably when they had what was a win probability for Milwaukee? Over 99%. These are the moments. These are where people become legends.